built Tulsa and Nicodemus, Kansas, and Wilmington, North Carolina. That's why they were killed during the Red Summer. You see what I'm saying? So
when you look at Diddy and you assess him as a mogul and even an artist, he's worth $1 billion, right?
Maybe a bill or half a bill, either way.
Yeah. So there has to be some sort of talent there.
Well, he knows how to write a hit.
What is Shine's talent?
What is Shine's talent?
No, Diddy. What, in your opinion, why is Diddy worth? What made Diddy Diddy? This man is worth a lot of money.
Musical genius, charisma. I'm gonna walk in this room and I'm gonna own it. I want you to make that sound. I want you to sing that hook. Don't sing it like that. Hey, I want you to have that look on that picture. Okay, I know how to make a star. He knows how to do that. Can't take that away from him. He knows how to do that. I need star status. The difference between...
He's a lot like Vince McMahon.
Exactly.
Vince McMahon couldn't write a wrestling show.
Diddy and Master...
Front to back, he could never do that.
Diddy and Master P...
He could look at something and say, he's a star.
Diddy and Master P are the Vince McMahon of rap. Diddy, J. Prince, and Master P are the Vince McMahons of rap.
So Diddy's talent, in your opinion, is he has an eye for talent.
He has an eye for talent. Now,
and his charisma.
And his charisma. Now, Master P, he just went to the hood. Like, okay, I'm not looking for no gimmicks. I'm just gonna bring authentic New Orleans. In New York, it's like, okay, well, yeah, let's put a shiny suit on, or let's, do this or do that. No Limit, we're looking at like, all right, we didn't initially have access to these big labels. We don't have access to that. We had to get priority records in LA. We had to earn it. We had to go out to the Bay Area and Richmond and Vallejo and Oakland, and we had to really earn it out the trunk of our car and gain respect from the streets. P. Diddy had big major labels. No Limit didn't have that. But No Limit was more successful than Bad Boy, if you ask me. If you ask me.
So you've seen the clip, the MTV clip, where he's in his office and he's like, I'm just gonna have it. I want it. What I want, I get. You seen that clip, right? The Diddy?
Oh, yeah.
Now, is that good when you see that? Do you see that as a positive?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That clip is a positive for rap?
Absolutely. Because...
So, if Diddy's mogul run ends here in the next 6 weeks, if his mogul run is over, would you consider Diddy to be his run in rap and hip hop? Would you consider him to be a credit to rap, somebody who helped rap hip hop progress, or was he someone that hurt rap?
Oh, you progressed it. No matter, because
bro.
Yeah, your freak offs in your bedroom ain't got nothing to do with when Notorious Big going triple platinum, Locks, Money, Power, Respect going platinum, Lil' Kim going platinum and double platinum. We can say that there might have been some things where you're like, okay, well, I think that was a little off code or whatever. But when we talk about, even if he got all the money and he didn't pay everybody and this, that, and the third, because what's probably going to happen in the next couple weeks.
What?
He's probably going to be sitting somewhere in the federal penitentiary, and what's going to happen is dudes like Gongu Roach and all the forensic auditors and stuff, they're going to be like, all right, yeah, your mama might have to publish it now, but you're going to still cut that check. You ain't going to be able to hide it. It's too much money. You can't hide that kind of money. You're going to have to give the people what they wrote, making beats, whatever the case may be. So you might be out of a couple $100 million, if that.
Well, they're going to sue the estate, DP. So whoever if the estate is in your name, they're going to sue you. They're going to sue the estate.
Yeah, all they're going to do.
All that you just named off. triple platinum for Biggie, all that, coming home. A Jewish man will be owning that in an auction very soon.
And even if he does own it, just like this dude Gongu was saying, look, check this out.
Good evening, everyone. I appreciate y'all watching my video. And one of the first discrepancies I found was with the song "We Love Big Papa." So if y'all know and remember that song "We Always Love Big Papa," which came out after Big's unfortunate death, the Lox and Dame Grease, who produced the song, released that song through Bad Boy. And if you'll recall, Puff said all the proceeds go to the Wallace estate. So let me explain that, meaning by all proceeds, which means that they get the writer credit, the publisher credit, whatever other kind of credit that will come along with it. They would just get the full copyright. So instead of the Lox having their writer names in ASCAP per se, and Dame Grease having his name in ASCAP, it would just say Christopher Wallace, 100% writer credit, basically. And then on the publisher side, they were supposed to get 100% on the publisher side too.
So basically, he's kind of breaking down some of how the royalties work. He said Diddy was investigated a week before his arrest over "We'll Always Love Big Papa."
By who?
I believe Gongu Roach did it. I think he's the forensic auditor. People go to him.
What do you mean? Oh, he was a forensic auditor.
Yeah, so
not
basically,
the FBI.
Not the FBI. He's not investigated like that. So he basically, I guess he said Diddy hung up the phone on him. I'll listen to it later in detail. But basically, this dude, I think he had to find out stuff with Big Pun, with Fat Joe, because they were playing with their state's money. He basically will look at your shit and say, all right, look, Universal Records owes you some bread. And I think he's going to work for Angie Stone's family too. So labels, they don't like him because he finds out the facts. He says, okay, you owe this person some money. And he works with lawyers and stuff with it. And, he's a forensic person. So you can't really hide with forensics. Forensics is going to do a deep dive. For example, I was going to talk about even with the case with Diddy a little bit, but I didn't get the software. There was a software I think that was called Pro Discover. I used to work when I was taking some classes. Basically, they got a thing called a chain of custody when it comes to computer forensics. When you have somebody like Homeland Security coming in your house, the first thing they do is they take a copy, which is called an image. Now, what they do with that is they take a copy. Now, there's certain ways that they could do it. They could take what they call a live copy. So let's say your laptop or your computer is already on, and they have this software, which is usually based off of what they call Linux, because otherwise Windows software itself makes modifications. Now, what is modifications, DP? They have something in forensic software, and so my listeners understand, they have something in forensic software where if you maybe take a USB drive and put it in the computer, and it is what they call a Windows formatted USB drive or software, whatever the case may be, it can modify the image. Now, I don't mean like you took some of the pictures off and deleted it. That's not what I mean. When you're doing a forensic investigation, typically you're going to use what they call Linux distribution. So a Linux distribution is just a piece of software that does not modify what they call the MD5 hash. What is the MD5 hash? When you're doing a forensic investigation, and let's say you find out that somebody has committed a crime, you get a warrant from the judge, and you're a computer forensic investigator. Let's say I walk in the room, the feds break down the door, somebody's getting ready, somebody's by the computer trying to delete evidence, doing whatever they do. Hey, they pull a weapon on them. Put your hands up or I'm gonna blow you away. You told me how the feds act like when they're getting ready to investigate you. If you make any sudden moves, they're gonna finish you. So put your hands up, walk back. Okay, they cuff him. Hey, that computer right there, copy an image. Forensic investigator comes in. Computer forensic investigator. He comes in. He starts hooking up software through a USB drive and in his laptop or whatever the case may be, some kind of hard drive. He uses what they call Linux software. It's the same stuff that runs on an Apple computer, the same stuff on the back end of your Android computer. You don't know that because you don't really go into the software updates and really look at whatever it is, but it's the operating system. It's no different to Windows 98, Windows 95, Windows 11, Windows 10, whatever. That's the operating system. But it's a Linux operating system, the same operating framework that Macs use, Macintosh. So they hook this software or this hardware up to the computer, and they do an image, which is a direct copy. The reason why they use a Linux distribution image copy is if you use Windows software, it modifies what they call an MD5 hash. Now the MD5 hash is basically a way that you could think of it as a screenshot or a picture of the entire hard drive and maybe the memory. And what it does is it makes a hash of maybe like 60, 70 characters. That what they call to be an MD5 hash is, okay, let me try to explain it. Once I take that picture and save the copy of that hard drive to my hard drive with the forensic software, initially when I take that copy, I'm going to run what I call an MD5 hash on it. Now it's going to look at that whole image and it's going to say the hash might be like 50 characters or whatever the case may be. And I'm going to take note of that and say, well, this is when I took this image, think of it like an address almost to a certain extent. It's basically saying I took a copy of this image and then I ran what they call the MD5 hash on it. So when somebody else gets this hard drive and they start looking into it, I'll run the MD5 hash again. And if that MD5 hash is the same, which it usually is because I use Linux software, I cannot say it's modified. Now, why is that important? Because they have what they call a chain of custody. When the feds broke down the door, each person that touches that hard drive has to sign off on it. Who touched it and when they touched it. Because they have what they say a chain of custody. Because somebody could say, well, so-and-so grabbed it and I don't. For example, with this BS going on in Louisiana, that was a horrible chain of custody. Nobody went to the maintenance man to check out the tool. Nobody went here. Nobody went there. Nobody knows anything for 10 hours. Y'all broke the chain of custody. That's a violation. Y'all didn't do anything right. Nothing. It don't matter if the maintenance man came in and blew a bomb up with those inmates himself. Y'all broke the chain of custody from the gate. You weren't following protocol. You had a breach of security. Nobody knew nothing for a long period of time. Y'all weren't documenting nothing. That whole entire thing is a sham. There's nothing you could say that you did right. Not one. From the top to the bottom. And they're like, okay, well, let's find a fall guy until we figure out our story. You ain't gonna be able to do it. It was too sloppy. Back to the chain of custody with forensics. That chain of custody list, you'll bag and tag, just like real evidence. Think of it as a murder suspect. I'm a bag and tag the gun. Okay, I'm a bag and tag this hard drive. I'm a bag and tag this software, or not software, but this computer. I'm gonna say, okay, DP took a image and ran an MD5 hash on this hard drive for further investigation. Okay, we're gonna bring it down to the station. Okay, Joe Jackson, he now took the hard drive and put it into evidence. Chain of custody. He write his name. He signs it down. So every single person that touched this equipment, we know who touched it and we know when. That's called chain of custody. So now, let's say I'm the forensic examiner now. I hook up that hard drive, or I just take the image, which is a copy of the hard drive, and load it up in my software. I'm going to run that MD5 hash again. Guess what happens? If the MD5 hash is the same hash, which is, let's just say it's 123. It said, okay, nothing's been changed in this image. We can investigate and look at what's on this image, which is basically the hard drive, a copy of the hard drive. We're going to look at this hard drive and see what's in there. If that MD5 hash has changed, that's got to be documented. You know what that means? Throw the case out. Can't use that evidence. Who changed this? Because that hard drive was supposed to be the same exact hard drive when we took that screenshot or that image. So you can't hold that up in court. If I'm a good damn lawyer, the first thing I'm gonna say is, hey, I'm gonna have a computer forensic examiner as a consultant ask, was there any changes to the MD5 hash on that hard drive that your Homeland Security forensic examiner took? Well, yeah, there's been a change. You know what the court's gonna do? Throw that shit out. You might have child pornography on anything. You can't use none of it because we don't know if you changed something. There's been a modification in the MD5 hash. Just like a murder scene, it should be. Well, we found a gun here and we found this, we found that. Oh, well, somebody came and spilled peanut butter and jelly. You've contaminated the whole murder scene. That's inadmissible in court. It's not supposed to be. Sometimes they still do it, but that's illegal. That's supposed to be unadmissible in court. That's why they asked Cassie. I'm getting to the point here. They asked when, not Cassie, but in Diddy case, they said, hey, were you able to get some information out of these laptops? Oh, well, I couldn't do this or I couldn't do that. They got what they could. One of the laptops didn't boot up. Another laptop, something didn't work, or I don't know what it was, but they couldn't use it, bro. So that was a good thing for Diddy, because it could have been something on them laptops that they just couldn't get. And legally, he doesn't have to give the passwords of those two. That's why I said with a forensic examiner, what they do is they take an image of the hard drive and they try to see if they can find something on it. They have a warrant to look for stuff. But there's a lot of gray area when it comes to forensic examination, because you got to look at due process and you got to look at this thing called, I forgot what it's called, but you probably heard about it. Basically, it's a warrant, and we can say, yeah, you can look here, here, and here within this warrant. Then there's something where it says, well, we happen to just walk past a table and it's a big ass AR-15 and a bag of crack. That might not have been specified in the warrant, but it's plain view. It's called plain view. Well, that wasn't specified in the warrant, but man, you got a gun and a bag of crack right on the table. You're gonna get charged with that. But now, if for some reason the warrant wasn't, it's because now we're getting into constitutional law now. This is constitutional. This is all based on due process. You see what I'm saying? The Fifth Amendment, and I think not the 14th, but something about equal protection of the law or search and seizure. Yeah, search and seizure. So now, if the judge says, look, you could look at this, that, and the third, you cannot look at that. They're not supposed to be looking at certain things, and that expands into computer forensics. But it's a big gray area because the laws are still kind of open about computer forensics. They're still trying to figure it out. Like, okay, can you go in that folder? Can you go in this folder? Can you look at this? Can you look at that? And then what's in plain view? If I open up one folder and I see some dude just grabbing his balls and saying, hey, yeah, I want to freak off. And in the video, the lady's saying, no, I don't want to freak off. And he's still holding his balls saying, yeah, you're going to do it. Is that plain view? Did you have jurisdiction to be able to go through that folder? Well, probably so. But a good lawyer is going to argue like, oh, no, you were supposed to only go through this search and seizure. So hopefully that kind of breaks it down, a master class on that computer forensics. They didn't really find nothing because, the defense, the prosecution didn't really want to ask no more questions. They couldn't find nothing, bro. So,
they got all they wanted.
Well, now they do. Now they got the wire. If they got a wire transfer to his mother, that $20K, I could tell they got that wire, because the defense, they didn't even bother. They were like, oh man, fuck. You know what I'm saying? So
I bet you they didn't even. I'll be putting it to you like this. I bet $1 didn't even know about it.
Usually it's in discovery, but maybe they didn't.
I bet $1 didn't. No, that wasn't in discovery. The fact that she was coming, they ain't gonna tell you what she's talking about.
Yeah.
That's up to y'all. That's up to you to figure it out. But then you know she's coming to court. I bet you Diddy, or Diddy might have thought, you know, he was thinking he was slick because you know he gave the money back 5 days later.
Yeah, that wasn't good either. Because that really that makes it look even worse.
She can't do nothing because I gave it back.
Yeah, but
you
didn't.
Probably thinking that, but it doesn't matter. It's intent. As soon as he said, "Give me this," or "I'm gonna release the sex tape," that justifies Cassie saying, "I kept doing the freak offs because I thought he was gonna release the footage."
Yeah, that's force. Boom. That's count one.
All the feds had to prove is that he's using things over her head to perform sex acts.
Yeah, that's
buyout, and they got the private jet.
Yeah, that's
across state lines.
Oh man. Yeah.
That's all they had to do. Like I told you last week, she could have agreed to 99 free calls. If she didn't want to do that 100th one, that's a problem. And then you got a whole other victim that's coming. You telling me? And she's not Cassie. She's not famous at all. You grab that bitch probably by the throat. You won't do this goddamn free call. God damn it. You know? You gonna do this. You gonna do this free call, bitch. And if he told her, you can do a freak off or I'm going to cut you off, boom, that's all it takes. I'm going to stop paying the rent on this or I'm going to stop doing that, bitch. Woo. That's all it takes because he's petty. It's real petty for him to do that with the mom about the 20 grand. That's petty, man. And that ended up being, and I promise you this, when it's all said and done, that testimony is going to be what puts him away.
Is the same?
Because if I'm objective, and so if you're right now, if you're on the jury, then you're objective, you don't care about nothing. You some cornball white dude, you don't care about nothing. You just on the jury, because you got to be. And you're looking at all this evidence so far. Are you going to find him innocent or guilty?
With that wire transfer thing right there, yeah, man, that cuts the cake when it comes to force, because that's blackmail. That's blackmail.
Prior to that, though, prior to her testimony, I would have said he's walking. I would have said not guilty if I was on the jury. Till I heard that.
Oh yeah.
And then all I have to do is, if I can see that she transferred him, if I can see that she took out the loan and she transferred him $20,000, that's all I got to see, because she ain't got no business transferring him 20 grand unless he asked for it.
Yeah, you're a billionaire. What you need 20 grand for?
He didn't need it. It's just, this bitch left me. All right, fuck her. She was using him. I mean, that's a part of it too. And he knew that. That's part of why he was beating her up. Because I know this bitch is here for a good time. You know what I mean? I know this bitch don't like me. I know she just wants what I'm doing for her. Fuck this bitch. And part of the reason he beat her up is he knew she wasn't going nowhere.
Right.
As long as I got dope, this bitch ain't going nowhere.
What is your prediction? What is your? Do you think now? Another thing, the judge is pushing for July. He wants this done. Why is he so adamant about it being done before July 4th?
You know he's guilty. That's why. Shit, I mean, they treat you differently when they know you're guilty. Like we know. Like I promise you this much: when his lawyers did not have anything to say to Cassie's mom, that's like you being in a battle rap and then you ain't got nothing to say. That means you lost. You know what I'm saying? They had nothing to say. They probably didn't even know.
You know what I thought about?
Did he get so high, and so he probably didn't even remember he did that shit, bro.
Probably not. I don't think he did. You know, I thought about something else that was symbolic, and I don't think anybody is. I think I'm the first person on the podcast to be able to look at it in this lens. What happened in July 4th?
What do you mean?
The history.
I don't know what. Oh, the Christopher Columbus and all that.
Beyond that, what were black folks doing in July 4th?
Barbecuing and shit. 4th of July.
In 1776.
Yeah. You tell me the judge is going back to that?
No, I'm saying, can you imagine the most? Think about this for a second. One of the more powerful black executives getting locked up before one of the most racist days in America. I think that's very interesting.
Well, I mean, the judge probably wants to wrap it up. Part of the reason the judge wants to wrap it up is knowing that these lawyers will try to do everything in their power to prolong it, too. You got to take that into account, too. They want to check. You know what I mean? Like my mom, I was talking to her. She was watching the stuff on TMZ. She was like, I feel sorry for the lawyers. I said, I feel sorry for Diddy. Fuck them lawyers. Fuck, they get the check. We'll lose their job. It didn't mean, man, if I was on that shit, I'd be acting all stern, walking out of the court. As soon as I get in my car, man, this nigga's fucked.
Does she think that Sean Diddy Combs is guilty, or what does she think?
Who? My mom? Yeah, she thinks now she's guilty.
What does she think of Cassie?
Just a whore, you know. But he was dumb enough to fall for the bait, you know. She as you can see, she's just a, you know what I mean. She's just a girl. She's a. You see, hookers want simps. The only person that punks the hooker is the pimp. Besides that, she's a bitch to everybody else. You know what I mean? She's all her John's are simps. So Cassie is a girl that has no real talent, but she's gorgeous. Like I tell women all the time that want to act like they're beautiful and this and that. I'm like, bitch, you're not beautiful. You have a job. You work. Shut the fuck up. You're not a bad bitch. Get the fuck out of here. Stop this bullshit.
Do you?
Let's come here. Listen, you have a job.
You're right.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
You're not a bad bitch.
Superior benefits.
No actual talent. She's got 30 to 40 million with some way more millions coming.
More than she would have ever made in her music career. Now, let me ask you this question. Now,
way more.
What do you think? Is your mom familiar with the Louisiana cases and stuff like that? What does she think about that?
She heard that they ran away, but see, she, you know, she's from Africa, so she don't, you know what I mean. She's thinking, you know, like, why did they shoot him? What the fuck? You know what I mean? They're gonna shoot him. They're gonna kill him.
Did she have any idea? You know, like the stuff we talked about right now. Did she know any idea on how corrupt Angola and all them other places and Louisiana is? Like, she ever been down there?
She probably thinks every prison is Angola.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
You know, all African prisons is Angola. So that's what she's thinking. She probably, you know, her interpretation of prison is it's just they just work you to death. There's no human rights in Africa at all. So you take Angola and times it by 30, you know, even though it's bad, you know, when you equate it to American history is real bad. But, you know, a person from Africa is not going to feel sorry for an American in like any kind of like criminal, like the judicial system or courts or the jail. They're fucking with you, man. It's rough out there too, you know. But those kids, but if you're going to get back to Diddy for a second, you know, Kid Cudi, if you really think about it, though, the reason the feds wanted him to testify, they just wanted the jury to hear that Diddy broke in. Look at the extent of Diddy's controlling jealousy.
But they did not have proof in the end with Kid Cudi. No proof, none.
They didn't have proof of anything. But they didn't have proof of anything. But why is this man, who's a successful artist, why is he going to get on the stand and tell me a bunch of lies? If I'm on the jury, that's what I'm going to think. I'm going to believe him.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, what the fuck is this? He's got no time for that. As you said, he's a highly successful artist, right?
Extremely successful. Extremely.
Yeah, what he got to do? He probably lost credibility doing that shit. You know?
Yeah, why would this man come to my house over this dope addict broad? Why? Yeah.
And blow up my vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, shit, blew up my vehicle. You got to think about that.
And then text me a bunch of times during Christmas time when I'm with my dope fiend broad. Yeah. So what do you think they're gonna catch these guys in the next couple weeks?
What's that?
Do you think they're gonna catch these guys in the next couple weeks, or you think they're out of here?
Well, that's pretty, you know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'll wrap it up in a second. Go ahead.
I'll say this much. They better hope they catch him. This ain't looking good for anybody that's got a good position, in the Louisiana prison system. There's going to be some people. There's going to be some, where's the old expression? There's going to be some heads that roll. There's going to be some people looking for work.
Oh, either way. Because these escapes, it's not like these escapes don't stop. This emboldens people too. Like, oh, shit, man, they ain't secure. I'm out of here.
Bro, do you realize this? 11 people escaped in 1 week from prison.
It's probably more than that, bro. I'm be honest. They're just not telling us everything.
What? And they didn't even know for 10 hours? Come on, everybody fired.
They can't fire them. You know why? They can't fire everybody. Here's the problem. They don't got staff. There'll really be some escapes if they start firing.
I'm bringing in National Guard, martial law for a little while, and bringing in the military to control these jails until we can hire.
Louisiana ain't having it. Let me tell you why. Martial law has to be an emergency situation. They're like, that's federal. We don't want the feds in town. We want to still be able to get our kickbacks.
Man, they lost in kickbacks, bro. Where'd that $14 million go?
Well, that was supposed to be used for the locks. The sheriff didn't want to use it.
Definitely didn't do that.
That was for fixing the jail. That wasn't for prison pimping. See, they trying to do like I showed you with the dude where he wants to bring in his little employees with they landscaping business and then use them for government contracts so they can get paid under the table. That's what the wardens and all them folks out there be trying to do. They don't want the feds to be involved. They need them to be involved, but they don't want them to be involved because they're going to start asking those kind of questions. Hey, warden, you getting 100 to 200,000 a year. You living on big land. Remember, a lot of them employees live in Angola. That one dude was getting $1,200 a week for cutting grass on top of his prison salary. And some of them live in Angola for free. These folks is living it up. You see what I'm saying? While they charging $3 candy bars and they got Negroes working for 1 cent an hour. You see what I'm saying? They do not want the feds poking their nose into what's really going on. They just now talking about trying to give these folks some AC and some water for working at 105 degrees out there on the plantation. They don't want no feds coming in, man. They're going to try their best not to do it. I don't know how that's going to work because it's too much information coming out. They're too sloppy. They've been brazenly, neglecting their duties and been just out front sloppy. I don't think they're going to want to do it. But
man, I don't know how these people even are able to clock in to work. Man, if I was the governor of Louisiana, I'd be right there. Man, don't even clock in, bro. I'd tell the sheriff, the female black lady, hey sis, I think you might want to find a new line of work.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's going to be real weird.
Escape from prison and y'all didn't know for 10 hours. Nah, man. Nah. We're going to have to hit the reset button as far as employees.
Yeah,
if that was a business and I ran it, everybody's fired. I'm going to shut this shit down. Take all these inmates, take them to another prison. We shutting this down.
Yeah, see, and guess what? When they send them to other jails, those are going to get overpopulated and the violence increases. So I'm just telling you right now, don't be surprised within the next couple weeks. It might be a bloodbath. Because here's another thing, and that's what I learned on the New Jack channel. Inmates don't like a bunch of other new inmates coming to their house. That's how they look at it. When they get a bunch of transfers, I'm talking about a whole bunch. Like, oh, all these dudes come from the Baton Rouge Parish prison. You looking at maybe, 1,200 maybe total that live there. So they might send 200 here, 200 there, 200 there. Dudes don't like that because the thing is now you got an extra 2 dudes in your cell. It's overpopulated. And then you got this thing now where they taking out the snacks and all. I mean, you talk about a war. They gonna need more staff, and now they talking about getting rid of staff. So dudes gonna be escaping. Dudes gonna be getting. I'm telling you, it's gonna be crazy. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up, man. I'll upload this within the next couple of days, man. I appreciate you having on. I might try to do one more broadcast in the next couple of days, man, but I'll let you know.
Okay, man.
All right,
Have a good
man.
one.
Appreciate it. Take care. Yep.